welcome back to the show. I know it's been a while since we last had an episode, but I thought I would just hop back in and talk about this very important topic. This is actually the most requested topic of mine that has been coming up a lot recently in both like the Instagram polls as well as personal requests and things. Um, Speaking of which, if you guys do have any requests, feel free to um, specifically on Spotify. I don't think I actually check on other places, but Spotify, if you put like comments down in the Spotify app, just to be clear, the Spotify app, put in like what recommendations you have for topics, interviews, anything you want, just put it in the comment section of whichever episode you're listening to, and I'll try to make sure I check it, and then we can get go from there. So, anyways, this episode is actually about um, design and development process for people who feel like they can't produce ideas or feel like they can not um, really function in a way that helps them get good ideas. So let's get into it. First of all, ideas. What even is an idea, really, right? An idea is something that you kind of start with. It's something that is the stemming root of what you're doing. For example, if I was writing a song, my idea, let's just say, is about friendship. Friendship is the idea. Now, of course, your whole song, it's not just friendship, 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 is all the lyrics. The lyrics tell a story, and that story is the development process, the design itself for the idea that you started with. So, in other words, the idea is just your starting point. It's your almost like an Uber. It's your Uber that will take you to your destination, which is the friendship story. A good way to show like a proper example would be I don't have my lyric book with me right now, but what it goes is like, for example, friendship, right? You think about all the things that you know have happened in friendship, good, bad, everything. Note it down on a piece of paper. See, okay, is this lyrical? Does it feel good? Does it feel extra? Does it feel too dramatic? Do I want to make it like less dramatic? Do I want to exemplify and make it more unrealistic but also realistic at the same time? That kind of thing is what I think about for those kind of things. Now, the actual process itself varies from person to person, so just take this part as like as you please because it may or may not be something you're interested in. Because I do a lot of brainstorming and journaling and stuff to make sure I get my ideas out on paper and then I transfer them on to my place where I write lyrics and do all the stuff. So for me, what I do is kind of think of words. For me, the lyrics come after the title. I write the title, change the title later, of course, if it doesn't fit, but then write the title and see where it goes from there. And then sometimes what I do is, if I can't even think of a title, I just say I have no words in my head. I open up my phone and type one like thing, like either the, a, or but, or anything, just have like a random word as the first thing, and then have autocorrect complete that sentence and form like a song title. For examples, I once put the in my autocorrect box thing, and it gave me hunter, right? Of course, like I never went with that idea because eventually I did use the word hunter when I was talking in an interview with Alexa Curtis, which is also something I would recommend listening to if you're interested. In that interview, or like after the interview, behind the scenes, I call myself a hunter. You guys can actually check out that reference online, LinkedIn, everywhere you can find that. But I call myself a hunter. And so after that, that song was born called Hunter, where I talked about the guest I was trying to get on. And so, if you know this about me, I love Olivia Rodrigo. So that was why it was called Hunter. It was like a song dedicated to her about how I'm super impressed by her and super fangirly over her. And so that was that song. So that kind of was my own experience. So that song came up. But then I also kind of there's this one time where I actually did not have any ideas, no experiences that were interesting enough to write a song about. So it's like, okay, I think I need help now. And so I again opened up my search box, clicked Apple, right? Just wrote Apple, just like that, because Brad Summer is going on, right? Why not? Let's just say Apple. And so then I typed Apple, and so it says Apple, and then after that said is, and said Apple is, I'm trying to remember what it said. Apple is infinity or something like that. So then I changed it and then said infinity apple. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. But I've not actually started writing it yet. But I'm trying to see. Now again, this is actually one important thing that actually brings up a good thing is that most of the time the titles don't even make sense. Like Apple is infinity. Like what does that mean, right? So that's when you kind of have to take the jump and decide for yourself what you want it to mean, if you want it to mean anything, or if you just want to scrap that idea and just move on to something else. Of course, scrapping the idea is always the easy thing to do. Just scrap and move on. But it's easy to forget that if you were if an idea has come to you, it has come to you for a reason. I would normally what I do is even no matter how bad of an idea it is, I just go with it anyways, just to see where it goes. If it doesn't work, then yes, I do change the idea and move on with something else. But I give it a try first because without trying, how do we know if it's good or bad? It's like saying I don't like French fries without even ever having had tasted French fries. French fries are great, but like that's the example I'm talking about. Like we do not know what's good for us or what's bad for us if we do not actually try it. And so by doing this, you give yourself room to exploration actually. Before I actually even move on with my talk about this, exploration is actually key. I don't even need to continue here because exploration. Once you explore your daily life and seek inspiration from there, because your daily life honestly is the most interesting it can be. Even if you feel like it's monotone, it doesn't have flavor to it, doesn't have drama to it. It's great. It's still your life, and so if it's your life, you're living the best life. If even if you don't think it is the best life at the moment, you can get inspiration from there, whether it be for books, songs, podcasts, anything, you name it. Another thing, not only is exploration like the key to all of the ideas I get, but observation. Exploration and observation, kind of the same thing, but observing people around you. Just like listening in. Of course, when you're observing, I mean like people you are familiar with and are okay with you doing this. I don't want you to stalk people. That's not what I'm trying to say here. So if there are any younglings out there listening to this, I don't want you to get the wrong message. I'm not saying stalk people. I'm just saying observe the way people talk. Observe anything. Like let's just say you're listening to a conversation with a friend and they're talking about how they there was drama going on in their class. Of course, when you're doing this kind of thing, you always want to ask for permission to use the story for some because you don't want to get them by surprise and suddenly have a rift. You know, in those cases, it's a bit risky, but again, creativity is all about taking risks. If you don't take risks, then what are you doing here, right? You're not really truly living life if you're not taking risks. I could literally just have, done a normal, simple topic today. I was like, I want to do something bigger. This episode is actually highly requested by this special person. I'm a special person. I mean, my best friend. But like honestly, like when she said it at first, I was like, yeah, this episode, like I get that. Like this episode is like almost something that a lot of people feel like they need, but they don't have. And if they do have, it's dedicated towards like higher ups. Like for people who are in business sectors or part of the economic sector, engineering, and people who are creative on the other hand don't have a lot of these opportunities to hear these people talk. And so I feel like by having this episode, I kind of had the opportunity to share what I feel is my version of ideas and development and things. So, anyways, back to what I was talking about. Taking risks, right? As I said earlier, taking risks is important, but again, there are two different types of risks, right? There are good risks, bad risks. I don't really understand the concept behind bad risk because I honestly feel like every kind of risk you take is a step forward to greatness. That sounds really cheesy when I say that, but again, all good things are cheesy, like pizza. If you don't like pizza, I'm sorry. But yeah, don't give up. I mean, whatever it is you're doing, I'm sure you're gonna get there. I 100% guarantee you'll get there if you don't worry about the results. Just keep on working towards the goal and just, be proud of yourself and, you know, remember, this is actually the key thing. Make sure you understand that there's no right or wrong answer in this industry, especially since there are no defined rules that need to be followed. Honestly, that's like the thing that brought me closer to this whole creative thing, because I personally don't like being put into a box. I like to explore, I like to be curious about things. I like to kind of go deeper into whatever topic or thing I'm looking at. Even if it's as simple as, I don't know, like a normal book, I would go deeper. After reading, I'd be like, this topic's interesting, I want to go deeper. What can I learn from it? In fact, speaking of books and movies and shows and things, you can gain inspiration from them too. But the one thing to remember there is you cannot copy the plot. You cannot copy any of that stuff. But you can gain inspiration from anything and everything you hear and do. For example, let's say there's a scene in Descendants where, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a scene. I don't think this is even a scene. I'm just gonna make up something so I don't give spoilers to anyone who hasn't watched. But let's just say Mal marries Ben. I think this is true. If it's a spoiler, I'm sorry. I should have given a spoiler beforehand. But yeah, let's just say Mal is marrying Ben. You love the scene. Now you can you can write a story about that. You can write a story inspired by that scene. You can write a song inspired by that scene. You can draw something inspired by the scene, but you cannot copy. Okay, that's actually something that kind of complicated to understand even for me, because music specifically. This is specifically for music. As you all know, people are always getting in trouble saying you copied my song because the chords are similar, and so the chords being similar makes it sound like the same song. If the person sings the lyrics as well in the same tone or same melody. And so that's something to really keep in mind if you're doing music and you're listening to this episode, because that's something that's difficult to kind of keep up with, because you never know, like the bigger artists, they always are trying to find someone to get money off of, not on purpose. Their team makes them do this, but a lot of them do that, so it's something to be very mindful and careful of. Anyways, this is pretty much the end of the episode. Just remember, there's no one stopping or charging you for saying or trying something out of the box, so go for it and believe in yourself. You guys got this. I hope this episode has inspired you to unleash your inner creator. Remember, everyone starts somewhere. Keep exploring, experimenting, and most importantly, have fun. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Your support means the world to me. See you next time.